Hey YouTube, this is Trains and Destinations, and I'm here today, back again with another tech video. So if you look at my channel, I mainly do train videos and car videos, but recently I've been wanting to do more tech videos because as of now, I'm a lot more into tech. Tech is more of a hobby of mine. I still really like trains. I don't like cars as much, but I still like them, but tech is really like my new main hobby. I'm really into tech. I'm really into stuff like computers, phones, etc. So I definitely want to make my channel just a little bit more tech focused. So in my last video, I showed off an old iPod I had, and then before that, I showed off a MacBook Air. If you want a quick update, that MacBook Air I showed in that video, I actually sold it because it turned out there were actually some issues with it. There were issues with the trackpad, the hinge, the screen hinge was a bit loose, so I actually sold it to someone else. So I actually don't have that anymore, but I'll make another video, showing off my laptop situation at a future date. But anyway, today I definitely want to go back. I do want to go back and show off some of my old laptops. As you can see, there's a lot of them. Now, don't freak out. These are not like $1,000 laptops. In fact, these are all Chromebooks. These are all very cheap Chromebooks. Chromebooks that brand new cost $200 or less, but I paid much less for them. So quick history on my laptops. The very first laptop of mine was an Acer Aspire 1. I think it was a 10 or 11 inch notebook, and I got it around 2009 or so. Had an Intel Atom processor, 2 gigabytes of RAM, Windows XP. For 2009 it was okay. But that was my first legit laptop that my parents bought me, and again, that was my first laptop, my first computer really, and really my first big introduction to the internet and whatnot. And around the same time, I also at times used my brother's laptop, which was an Acer Aspire 3. But after that, around 2012 or so, I kind of moved away from Windows laptops and I moved into Chromebooks. At this point, Chromebooks were new. These were the hot laptops out there. Very inexpensive, very simple operating system, and they offered a good value for money. So I want to show you guys my very first Chromebook. And I used Chromebooks for a couple of years. I used them from around, I would say, like the very beginning of like 2012, I would say until 2018. So for a good 6 years when I was in middle school, high school, I used Chromebooks, and they did pretty much everything I wanted to do. Everything that I needed to do on a laptop, I was able to do it on a Chromebook. But now I'm in college, I need something a lot more advanced. Now that I'm doing video editing and I do gaming now, so that's why I now have MacBooks and whatnot. But anyway, so we're going to take a look here at this. So this here is a Samsung Chromebook, and I forget when this came out exactly. I think the date, I believe this is from early 2012, I like to say, or 2013. I'm not sure. It's either 2012 or 2013. But as you can see, it's beat up. So on the back, we have a lot of scratches. One of the rubber feet are missing, and then you can see on the back here, tons and tons of scratches. This door for the SD card slot is broken, and then up front, lots of deep scratches, and you can see parts of the Samsung logo are gone. Now, the reason why it's in this shape is because I was like middle school age when I had this laptop, so I more or less abused it. But also because these laptops, they're cheap to begin with, so they weren't necessarily well built. So if I open this up, oh yeah, you can actually see this laptop, it didn't break. It looks like it's broken, but actually it's not. So as you can see, I can actually kind of peel off this panel here. And you could see how this is just so loose. I mean, look. It's just so loose. And you can see there's just a bunch of crap in the keyboard and whatnot. Trackpad still works though. It still clicks. But I use this as like a heavy duty laptop. I dropped this thing, I spilled drinks on it, and it actually held up decently well. And, at the time I was in middle school, this laptop actually did a pretty decent job. Had a decent keyboard, again, a pretty good trackpad. okay enough screen. But really, what killed it was that one day I saw, I tried to turn it on, it said Chrome OS was damaged, so something internally got damaged. But yeah, this is pretty much my first laptop, and it's just disgusting. I'm just gonna throw it over there. But anyway, that lasted about 3 years or so, and so around 2015, I replaced that with this. This is an Asus Chromebook. This was $170 because this is the base model with 2 gigabytes of RAM and 16 gigabytes of storage. And as you can see, it's actually a really nice looking laptop, this Asus. I have this navy blue color. It's very slim. So as far as ports, you got 2 USB 2.0s on that side, and then the other side you have your headphone jack, mini HDMI, micro SD, and your power adapter. But as you can see, this looks pretty stylish. I mean, for $170, this definitely looks more expensive than the price would suggest. But this also wasn't the best in terms of build quality. You can actually see, if I can pretty much flex the hinge. And then opening it up, you can see that, once again, we have a bunch of gunk. Not as much gunk, but still, the keyboard's very dusty. And I haven't used this laptop in a while, so that's why it looks like this. But you can see this key up here is missing. I think I knocked it off. The trackpad still works. But you can see though, you see this little strip here, this little discoloration. That's actually super glue. This bezel is actually coming off. So I actually put a little bit of super glue in there. Now you might think I'm crazy for putting Gorilla Glue in here, but it actually worked. And it's not just there that I put it. As you can see, actually, if you look right here, actually, that yellowish stuff, that's actually Gorilla Glue. This panel is actually coming apart, so I actually stuck some Gorilla Glue in there to hold this thing together. I also did a little bit on this side. Because like I said, this is a cheap laptop. I kind of abused it a little. The build quality wasn't that great. It did last, though, for a while until the backlight went on it. It still works. The OS is still there. And it's still, again, the screen technically still works, but the backlight is gone. It burned out, or it stopped working. So there goes that one. And then this is the next Chromebook, which is actually the exact same Chromebook. I actually got both of these at the same exact time, because I figured if I owned two laptops of the same, they would last twice as long, which wasn't really true. But this one, it looks pretty decent. Again, you have this nice navy blue color. As far as pricing goes, like I said, this was $170 brand new. I know there's also an upgraded model of 4 gigabytes of RAM for $200, but in my use, though, you don't need 4 gigs of RAM. Chrome OS is so lightweight that you really don't need 4 gigabytes of RAM. 2 gigs of RAM works just fine. Now, opening this guy up, it is pretty rough. You can see I put super glue on the hinge of the other one, because as you can see, if I look right here, you can see that this is actually coming apart. So this plastic is just coming apart. And actually, if you look over here, they actually put a little Gorilla Glue in the screen right there to hold that bezel in. But another thing, though, this trackpad also still works. Sometimes it got a little sticky, but it still works. Keyboard's fine. But yeah, so it's actually not in that. Oh, well now. You heard that big old crack. Listen to this. Oh yeah. This partially broke, and the OS still works, but I got rid of it because it was basically coming apart. Oh yeah, you can actually see right here, the whole casing is actually coming apart. Wow, I mean, look at that. The whole casing is just it's disintegrating. The plastic, whatever plastic clips were holding this together just broke, and so this whole thing is just done for. And actually, you can see on the other side, I put Gorilla Glue to hold this together. But really, this is a cheap laptop. The build quality just wasn't there. And I also think it's because of Asus. I don't think Asus, I think Asus's build quality is rather questionable in general. But anyway, once those were both gone, so both those laptops pretty much were done for by, I would say, late 2017. So they lasted 2 years, 2.5 years. After that, my next Chromebook was this, the Hisense Chromebook. Now, the Hisense Chromebook was very interesting. And the reason why I say interesting is because the Hisense Chromebook was a Walmart exclusive, and in addition to it being a Walmart exclusive, it also only cost $150 brand new, which at the time in 2015, and in some respects even today, that's unheard of. A brand new laptop for just $150. Now, the Hisense Chromebook was sold around the same time as the Asus Chromebook. It's all black plastic, as you can see. Definitely not as nice looking, but it definitely has better build quality. Like, for one thing, this is a lot heavier than this guy. Like, this is very light. This is pretty lightweight, but this is heavier and just feels more solid. And then when you open it up, probably the most surprising thing about this laptop is this. This is a metal palm rest. Like, this is actual metal. And that's pretty much unheard of for something at this price. I always like that. You know, this is where you rest your palms, and yeah, in wintertime, you know, your palms will get pretty cold. But, nevertheless, though, when you're typing on this, at least you're resting your hands on actual metal. Now, this is very thin. Like, I really feel like I could peel this back if I wanted to, but still, it's metal, and that made it really nice. Although, it also meant that this gets covered in fingerprints easily. Again, the trackpad, it's fine. All the Chromebook trackpads are fine. The keyboard's fine. The screen is acceptable. All these screens are TN panels. They're all 1366 by 768. Generally, it's acceptable, although the color tends to get washed out off angle. And speaking of angles, the viewing angles are pretty much terrible. But, again, for the price, this wasn't bad. I mean, and as you can just see, this was definitely better built than the Asus. I mean, as you can see on this one, no Gorilla Glue had to be applied anywhere. It all held up. Pretty much. Well, not completely. Actually, the plastic is cracked right here around this screw. It's actually coming apart a little right there. But at least it held up longer than the Asus. Now, did I buy this brand new? No, I actually bought this on eBay for like $70. I actually had two of these, about $70 a piece, because you can get these really cheap on eBay. And so I used these two Chromebooks. I had two of these Chromebooks. I don't have the other one with me, but I used this pretty much up until, I would say, a few months ago. And it did its job. It really did. So, there you go. So there's a look at all of my Chromebooks. Now, if you're wondering what I use today, my current main laptop is this. A 13-inch 2013 MacBook Air. But that's for another video. Now, does this mean I abandon Chromebooks forever? Does this mean I'm never going to use a Chromebook again now that I have a MacBook? No. I do have a Chromebook, actually, a modern Chromebook, which is this. This is a Samsung Chromebook 3. I got it a few months ago from Best Buy. It was on sale for just over $120. And the build quality is actually pretty decent on this guy. It's very sturdy. I've had it for a few months. I barely use it. This is actually more or less for my sister, for when she goes back to school. So I really don't use this anymore, but it does work. It is pretty nice. Now, the screen is horrible. Like, don't get me wrong, the screen on this is still horrible, but, you know, but stuff like the keyboard and the trackpad, you know, they're all fine. They're all fine, and this definitely has a better build quality feel. You can see the screen right there, how bad it looks. Like, I mean, it is so bad you can actually see, like, the color. You can actually see, like, the backlight flickering because the screen is so cheap on it. But, anyway, it works. And as you can see, it's definitely a lot more sturdy. Definitely a lot more of a tank than these other Chromebooks. So I will say that at least they have definitely improved when it comes to build quality. But anyway, that's just a look at all of my Chromebooks. These were the laptops that got me through middle school pretty much. So, you know, let me know in the comments below. What laptop did you have when you were in middle school or elementary school or whatever, or even high school, because I used these Chromebooks in high school too. It helped that my school used Google Classroom, that I used Google Docs for all my documents, and that, you know, as far as making video, that was fine, because back then the YouTube video editor was a thing, so, you know, there was no need to have a high-end laptop. But that's all the past, and here we are today. So, hope you all enjoyed this video, taking a look back at all my old beat-up, broken Chromebooks. Thanks for watching, have a good day, and consider subscribing for more.